the third detection of New World screwworm, this time about 120 miles from the U.S. border. How much is what's continuing to happen there? Um, can that potentially impact the markets, or do we anticipate maybe, since things have were shaken up at one point, maybe it's shrugging off news like that as we see it in different spots or different cases pop up?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one, Megan. And I think it's important that we talk about how things like this impact the market. It's not, th this market is not somebody out there pulling a lever that says, oh, bad news today, we're going to push prices down, or good news today, we're going to push prices up. The market is a reflection of the positions that real people are taking. And so, they're reacting to the information that comes out. And if, more people are buying at the prices that we have and we're pushing prices higher because they're expecting prices to go higher, that's what leads us to strong weeks like this week. On the flip side of that, if more people are selling, trying to get out of the market, liquidating their positions, it can lead us to some of the tough weeks that we've had recently. The screwworm thing is really interesting because as you see this most recent case, and you think about how people react to it, on one hand, you might think, well, people are going to see this, and maybe this is negative for the market because we're worried about, this being so close to the U.S. And so it could lead some groups of people to, or some traders to maybe be a bit bearish. But the flip side of that, Megan, is for a while, there's been concern or thought or whatever, rumor is probably the more accurate word, that we were, nearing a point where reopening the southern border or discussions about reopening the southern border were occurring. Again, just rumor. This is not something that's come from the administration. There's been no formal announcement or anything like that. But those types of rumors could also be bearish, to markets. And so you got this, something like this happens. You see a case that happens, gets announced this week. Some of those people that, maybe had been devaluing their position might have seen that and said, okay, I'm no longer really concerned that we're going to be reopening the border anytime soon. And so it could even be a bullish thing for those particular traders. So again, it just shows the complexity of these markets. It really is about, what the news that comes around, how it affects the particular traders, and people take different positions based on the exact same information. So it's just a really fascinating way that information feeds into these markets. And I think the screwworm example that we have this week is a great example of how complex it really can be in terms of market reactions.